Hi, I'm Christine McKay, and welcome to my craft studio. Today we have Mandy with us from Little Birdie Secrets, and I have to tell you, I'm super excited because Lori on my staff knows that I'm one of those, I don't tend to check out a lot of blogs because they make me feel bad about myself. I think I'm so great, and I come up with something, and I go look at everyone else's blogs, and I'm like, oh, I'm not that cool.
Great.
But what is funny about yours is yours was the very first blog that I ever looked at. And I realized, oh my gosh, I get it. And it was the first time that I really understood what blogs were. And it was right when they were kind of first starting the craft blogs. And I just remember just being so wowed at everything that you had.
So sweet.
So what inspired you to start, and especially kind of so early in the game?
You know, I just had a couple of friends that we just got together and crafted. And that was our thing. And we kind of started thinking, you know, we're doing this all together. And people are asking us, how'd you make that? How'd you make that? We might as well just put it out there for the world, and then we can direct people to the blog instead of you know, reinventing the wheel and telling people how to do it all the time. And so we started the blog, and it was kind of early in the game. It was about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it kind of took off. So kind of became a part-time job, and then it was more than just, you know, a little extra money for our craft supplies. It was, you know, a part-time job where I could stay home with my kids. And
you
so
said that you've kind of slowed down a little bit, but you also said something very interesting to me, is that you're enjoying it. And because I asked you, how often do you post? And you were just like, you post when you're inspired and when you feel like it. Kind of explain that process.
Yeah, you know, when it was more of a part-time job, I had this pressure I put on myself, I think, to post 5 times a week. Like, I've got to have regular posts. I've got to have a recipe every Friday. I've got to have this and that. And it was great for that time in my life. But after a while, I kind of noticed, gosh, I'm not spending as much time with my kids as I'd like to. And I had a third child, and we moved across the country 2 times in a year. It got to be too much. And I thought, why am I putting this pressure on myself? You know, nobody's making me do this. I'm my own boss. Yeah. So I really decided I'm going to post when I want to. I'm not going to make something for every holiday. I'm just going to, when I make something, I'm going to show it.
That's
exciting.
If
I have time. And if I don't, who's going to know? Who's going to care?
And what's so exciting is that you have such an amazing archive of ideas, and there's so much content there that it's this living, you know, encyclopedia that goes on and on and on forever. So if you haven't checked it out, I firmly recommend that you go check out her blog, because I just, like I said, I just remember that was my aha moment of, oh, that's what a craft blog is. It's so amazing. So show me a little bit about what we're going to talk about today.
Okay. Well, I kind of have my hands in everything. I really love to scrapbook. That was my first love. Got into quilting, crocheting. I sell crochet patterns. So I'm kind of all over the place.
Now, have you always crocheted?
I've crocheted for about 10 years.
So was this something, did your mom teach you when you were younger?
My mom taught me, and the funny thing is she taught me wrong. She realized later, that wasn't right, but I figured it out. I did a lot of, you know, YouTube videos and figured it out, and now I write my own patterns, because it's a good way for me to be able to teach and share, but not have to spend all that time doing it myself.
Well, and one thing that I'm definitely noticing is that the crocheting is really starting to come back into trend.
It is.
What would you say? I see these darling hats here that are so cute. What do you think? When somebody comes to you and says, "Oh, I don't want to crochet. That's for grandmas." Like, what do you share with them?
You know, I get really excited about yarn. It's so funny because I have like baskets and baskets of yarn. It drives my husband a little crazy how much yarn comes into our house. But when I see something like this, like the color,
that is so
it totally inspires
cute.
me. Like, what am I going to do with that yarn? And so, I don't know. I love to touch things and feel things, and I think other people do too. And when they see, oh, I could make that in any color I wanted, any size I wanted, it gets people, okay, this is not such a grandma thing.
And one thing that's kind of fun about the fabric and the yarn is, you know, with your scrapbook pages, and I'm a huge paper crafter. Not so much scrapbook, but I love paper and paper crafting. Too. But often it like stays in the book, or it stays on the shelf. And one thing that I love about these crafts are these are something that you can pass on, and they really become personal, especially if it's a hat or a scarf or a blanket.
Right.
Then I don't know, it just seems like there's a little bit more personality to it.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about these darling bookmarks that we're going to make today.
We're going to make a little bookmark. Here's a sample one. And this is a perfect scrap buster. So if you like to quilt or just hoard fabric like me, these are a really great way to use up your stash. Some of these pieces came from this quilt here. I had them left over. I'm not going to make a scrap quilt, let's be honest. I'm never going to get around to cutting up tiny pieces of scraps. So I just came up with this easy little thing. This is a 4x8 piece of fabric that I've just sewn together, turned inside out, and top stitched.
And I was going to say, because I am not a sewer, so I'm going to probably ask you like a really elementary question. So when you do something like this, is it easier to iron it flat first before you sew it?
I always iron it, and then this has a piece of interfacing ironed inside too, just to give it a little bit of stiffness.
Okay.
Yeah, but so you're just going to put the wrong sides together,
Yep.
sew around, and then flip it inside out. And the top stitching is always the hardest for me because it has to look good.
Yeah, that's
and
what
I'm
the
not
looking good parts where I struggle with. Yeah.
But I think if you go slow and use your guides, it's
Okay.
really not hard. So that's a super easy. I mean, I can whip these out in 2 minutes.
And what
They're
a
so
fun
easy.
and what a fun gift
Yes.
for friends, and I always like to have like a little box of gifts for neighbors or friends, and this is something perfect because it is personal. So let's walk me through how you made that flower.
Okay, so these fabric rosettes have been around forever, right? I mean,
Right.
they've been on my blog, this tutorial, probably close to 3 years. It's still my most popular
I'm
tutorial.
still not tired of them.
Well,
I love them.
Yeah, every month it's still my most popular tutorial. So I thought this is a good one to kind of show because everyone loves to make them. They're addicting. So you're going to take, this is I think a 1 1/4 inch
Okay.
strip, as long as you want. I had shorter pieces. You can, like this one ended up being 2 or 3 little pieces. You can keep adding if you don't.
So
like I
about
said,
on
scrap
this
buster.
one, like about how long did this one start out?
It was probably about 30 inches long.
Okay.
Well, I mean, two pieces, so probably 15 each,
Okay.
I think is what I had. So this one's probably around that too, 24 to 30 inches long. So I always start out with a knot because it's easier if you have something that you're going to be moving around.
Okay.
So I start with that. This is my very favorite.
We actually sell this in our store.
Do you?
I love
It is
In fact,
the
that's why I
best.
don't sew because I use
Because
this
you
on
can use
everything.
this. Exactly. Fabric tag, my favorite. So you're just going to start with your knot, and you're just going to start twisting around that knot. And you don't have to worry about if your fabric's folded or if what side's showing because it's kind of a messy look anyway.
Which I think is why I like it, where it's comfortable, is it doesn't have to be perfect.
And you practice a little bit, you might find a technique you like better, but this is just the way I do it. So then I'm going to do a little dot of glue and then just keep twisting. And I usually do a couple of turns and
So
then
it's not like you have
another
to
dot of
glue every single.
Not at all.
So it really is just what feels comfortable.
Yeah.
And so you just keep doing that all the way around.
Just a little bit of glue, yep, and just keep going
Now,
around.
while you're doing that, I have to show you 2 things. So keep going with
Okay.
that. Okay, you didn't even come to show this, but this is like, this is my like aha of the day. How cute is this? This is a little pin holder. I am in love with this. All these cute little pinking shears, right? The scissors
Yep,
that
I
you
cut
cut
pinking
around the
shears.
felt and has all of the needles in there. Oh my gosh. And we both have the same problem of our husband stepping on the needles in the middle of the night. So my husband will
happy.
absolutely love
Yes.
this. I'm totally going to make this.
And it's on my blog, so you
Oh
can
my
go
gosh,
find
that
the
is
little needle book on
so
there.
stinking cute. And then the other thing while you're doing that is I want to talk about buttons for a minute because
Obsessed
you
with buttons.
have some just darling buttons in here. And I
Thank
noticed
you.
this card right here, if I can reach over you. Where do you find things like this? Because this is a real vintage button
Yeah,
card.
and I just pulled I felt bad pulling it off to put on here, but I want to use them too. It's
Yeah.
darling, but if I didn't use the stuff, then I'm in trouble with, again, my husband.
So where do you go?
But,
Like
you
Etsy,
know,
flea markets? Like where do you
flea
find?
markets. I actually found that at Harmony in Provo, which is a darling little store. But yeah, just flea markets and things like that are the best places. Some antique stores will have, by the bag.
Yeah.
And you'll get a few gems in there.
That's what I was gonna
lots
say.
of black and brown that you might not
Yeah.
ever use. But like this is another favorite. I
But yeah,
got a
this
card
whole
of those.
like to me this is candy. Like I could just have.
Yes,
in fact, I'm in love
exactly.
with that. All those just cute little buttons.
So pretty.
So while you're finishing up that, I want to. So basically, we'll hold this up and just.
'Kay.
So when you're done with all of that, I'm guessing that you'll just put some of the adhesive on it and put
Yep.
it on.
So then I'm just going to glue it on. I'll just kind of finish it here onto my bookmark. If you want a button center though,
Yeah.
before you glue it onto the bookmark, you're going to take a needle and thread and just sew it through the
So
middle.
you want to sew the button on.
I would the glue doesn't hold the plastic resin as well.
Oh, I just think these are
So.
so cute. And you could do all sorts of things. You could hang little charms off of these and put their name.
Yeah,
and
I think I did for teacher appreciation. I did a little safety pin with the teacher's name,
So
stamped out or something.
cute.
So these are great for teachers, Mother's Day, book clubs. I think I gave this to my book club one year.
That is so fun.
Yeah, so I just on the back did some glue and put that tab down. That kind of holds all together too in case you missed any spots when
Oh,
you were gluing.
perfect.
So then I just choose a button, go through all the buttons and find one that would look cute in the center. And I would stitch it in. Just
Okay.
so that it really stays. I don't know that the glue's going to hold it very well. And then you can just glue the whole thing with the fabric glue to the bookmark.
And then you're done.
Mm-hmm.
That
That's
is
it.
such a fun craft. Okay, so now this is my favorite part of the show. So we are going to play a little bit of rapid fire. Are you ready?
I guess.
So I'm going to ask you some questions, and you just have to answer just like with the quickest thing that
Okay.
comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Okay, go.
Okay, if you could have any superhero power, what would it be?
Could I like stop time? So I
Yes.
could get a bunch of stuff done and then start time again?
Yes,
Would I be done?
absolutely,
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
what I would do.
Okay, what is one trend, and it can be fashion, crafts, whatever. What's one trend that you said, oh my gosh, that's so ugly, I would never do that, and then you did it?
Okay, I have to admit this is funny because skinny jeans. I said, I am not wearing skinny jeans. Like, that is so 80s. I did that. I pegged my pants.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going there. That's all I own now. I own nothing else that fits.
That's funny because that's actually mine too, the
Yeah.
skinny jeans. Okay, last but not least, what is your one kind of guilty pleasure?
Bachelor.
Bachelor?
I'm a Bachelor and Bachelorette fan, and my husband every time, why are you watching this? You understand this is garbage, right? Yeah,
Because
it is.
Because
I
you're
know.
like, but this one's real.
oh, I
this one they're really going to get married.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I know they're not going to, but that's the fun of it, right?
It's so
all the drama.
I love all of those. I
These
think
girls,
it's awesome.
like, are these girls for real? I don't know any girls like that. Thank goodness, but it's
No, I
fun.
agree. Those shows are the best, and so I always have to wait and watch them on Netflix. So then, like, my husband
see the
really
whole
loves
thing.
it because then I watch it, like, 12 episodes back to back. He really loves that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Thank you so much for joining us
Thank you
today.
for having
and
me.
you can check out all of these great ideas and tutorials, even this one little right here, by going to littlebirdiesecrets.com. And thanks for joining us for My Craft Studio, and join us next time.